Go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon Podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon Podcast. Everyone talks about how AI is changing big business, but what about the smaller companies caught in the middle, the ones too big to be scrappy, too small to have an innovation lab? Ali, CEO of Premier NX and former exec at ADP and Indeed, is here to make the case that the mid-market isn't just ready for AI, it needs it. And if you're not using AI in your financial planning and analysis and business ops by now, you're already behind. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thanks, Rocco. Great to be on.
How far are they behind? Because that's like an interesting statement to make. Like, I always feel that, okay, you still have some time to catch up, but how far are they behind if you're not integrating AI at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, so I look at it a few ways. I measure it through some of these newsletters that you get or some of the news headlines. And I'm starting to evaluate the number of emails that talk about AI in my inbox, and it's just growing every day. There's more and more. Every single email is addressing it. And when you look at the articles, whether it's Wall Street Journal or other media, everyone is talking about this, and it's not just talking about it now. It's actually showing examples of AIs in use. And so for companies that haven't even taken those first steps to start to evaluate it, for people that are kind of like that ostrich and they have their head in the sand, it's not going away. This is not a fad. This is not a trend, the way that maybe other things in the past have come and gone. This is something that's actually fundamentally changing the way that businesses operate, the way that people actually run their lives as well.
What would you say to someone that equates this current AI trend to the .com era? Because I'm seeing a lot of that. People saying, oh yeah, it's a bubble, it's going to go away. Look at what happened to the .com era. Do you think it's different?
It's so the .com bubble was based on valuations. Right, that's the bubble that burst. But if you look at the transformation that happened from a technology perspective, that's what we're using today. Before the 2000s, we used to have application service providers, ASPs. That's really what SaaS is today. And so the technology has still come through. It's just that people were a little bit early. The economies of scale weren't there. And the valuations were fairly crazy, because you could draw on a napkin and you could get, funded and get going. And literally
take me back to those days, please. Just take me back.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But, OpenAI just raised another $30 billion. And I thought, okay, that's a little bit crazy, but people still believe in it. If you look at Microsoft and the earnings announcement, right, everyone is still very gung-ho on it. And maybe it is that's what they want to focus on, because there's so much other noise in the world today. They're like, okay, let's just hope that this takes us
there, right?
Yeah.
So what makes applying AI in mid-market companies more complex than just buying them ChatGPT and say, hey, here you go?
Yeah, so that's an interesting example, because I actually signed up recently for the team's business account. And it's actually going from, the standard paid subscription to the teams. You get this promise of, you're going to be, you won't get your data won't be trained on the model, and you'll be able to collaborate with your team more. And that's the challenge right now, is there's a lot of promises being made, but actually execution or seeing it happen and realizing it, that's what's really tricky. Because I go in there and I'm trying to work with the rest of the team on it, and we just cannot figure out how to collaborate within, like, I can do my work and they can do theirs, but we can't share. and that's where this agent mode that's come out.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh, you've used up all your agent modes for the week. Yeah.
I know what now. I know everyone's in limbo. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah, just hold our work now.
Yeah.
Wait till next month.
Okay, so what needs to change there? Where do we need to go? Because, like I said, mid-market companies need to start looking at AI, and it's more complex than GPT. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, the first thing is you can't just do technology just for the sake of technology. Because the board is asking, because the CEO is asking, doesn't mean that you go off and you come up with an excuse to say, here's AI, I'm using it.
Yes.
You have to, a lot of people are trying to think too broadly about it and say, okay, we're just going to AI enable the whole organization or the entire department. And you got to go after the low hanging fruit. You got to look at, basically, we've come up with this framework that's a quadrant. So you have low complexity, high complexity, low impact, high impact. So what is the quick win? What is the low complexity, high impact that you can do? Whether that's as simple as classifying your invoices using AI, or from a customer service perspective, it might mean doing sentiment analysis or doing QA so that you can coach your people better. Those are low risk type of things that you can do, and you have a very specific use case. One of your other guests had spoken about doing things in HR with onboarding or with the employee handbooks. These are easy, quick wins.
Well, I like the fact that you listen to the pod, by the way.
Well, yeah, I have to.
All right, let's talk about financial planning and analysis. You touched a bit about on it. Why do you think AI is a game changer when it comes to that? Why do you think it matters?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is just moving up into that space. So moving from basic accounting and finance into FP&A, the financial planning and analysis is important. But if you take the backdrop specifically within the mid-market, I call that you have your startups, you have your scaling businesses, which is the mid-market, and then you have your enterprise.
Yes.
The mid-market is what I would call kind of the muddy middle. So you've gotten past the startup stage, you want to get to enterprise, but you're just stuck. Like the traction, you're trying to get traction, and it's gotten harder than it was before.
Yeah, because everyone seemingly, sorry to interrupt you, but everyone seemingly is focusing on startups, like scrappy startups, or they want to get to enterprise, or they want to sell to enterprise. And no one's really focusing here in the middle, what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's really an underserved part of the market. And it's you have enough scale, but you still don't have those resources from a people perspective, from a budget perspective. Your data is still either siloed or it's just not clean data. And that's some of the things that you have to work on. But specific to what you were asking about on this FP&A, the scenario planning. So over the last 5 years, we've been through these global shocks in the system. And maybe for the US, you can say certain shocks as people deal with global trade policies and things like that. And so one thing you have to learn to do is be shockproof. And financial planning and analysis specifically calls for scenario planning and forecasting and budgets and saying, okay, what happens if we don't hit this revenue number? What happens if this happens? Or what if something else happens? You have to be able to plan for that. But it's a very difficult thing. AI is really good at pattern recognition. Yeah. And so if you can share with it, this is how we've been performing over the last 2 or 3 years, assuming you have the data and it's clean, right? Then it can help you plan for these different scenarios, because it's a very big undertaking to do scenario planning. I mean, you have to do your day job and then you have to plan for a potential future. Right? Where do you spend your effort and your time when the accounting profession is already facing a talent shortage and a skill shortage in the space? So the shockproof, people have been doing supply chain planning, right? A lot of people are looking at reshoring, or they're saying, oh, I can't just have one supply chain, I need to have multiple. Well, you have to think the same way with your workforce. You have to say, okay, I'm used to hiring, I'm used to doing freelancers, but what other things can I do to make sure I have multiple ways of accomplishing our work?
What is that? Agents? Are you talking about agents, or is it people centric?
Well, from a more biased perspective, it's both.
By all means.
It's one is outsourcing to a
Yes.
partner, co-sourcing to a company like ours, or it's a combination of what we call kind of human in the loop, is also using automation and AI, because you
Yeah.
can really amplify the amount of work that can get done and the type of work that can get done when you're using a person to help speed up or make certain workloads more efficient.
So you talked about co-sourcing. So how do you actually build an internal AI champion when you really don't have the massive budget?
That again, I think using a partner to
Yes.
go to market is a good way, because at least in our model,
Yes.
it's a much more low cost approach to say, okay, I need someone that has this expertise, that has, in our case, an AI innovation lab that's already experimenting. Help me identify where I can spend my time and work on this, because I think the challenge that companies have, whether it's the CFO or the CEO, is not the CEO, but the CFO might have this challenge, is getting lost in that IT queue. IT is so busy just keeping the lights on and dealing with all these other projects and transformation. Is how do you get the time and attention from internal resources, especially in the middle market? The other big piece is change management, and that's not unique to AI. That's always been there. Whenever we had the Y2K or anything else, it's always that change management that people, especially in finance, they're very comfortable using Excel. Why do I have to learn this new tool? And why do I keep getting these pop-ups, with AI recommending something?
And the world still runs on AI, and the world still runs on Excel. I don't know how many people realize that. Yeah, it's crazy.
You're a true Excel geekhead, when you're planning your invitations and things in Excel.
Okay. So what does a successful AI-ready mid-market company look like in 2025? When you go into a company and say, okay, they bought into your co-sourcing. Take me through that process, where you start. Are they hesitant? Is there full buy-in? What's that like? What's been your experience?
Yeah, I would say right now, there's definitely no resistance from the top down.
Oh, that's cool.
CEOs are the ones that are trying to push and drive this change. But I think that's the challenge, is it's coming top down, and it's not involving people that are actually doing the work to get their collaboration, to get their buy-in. And so what's happening is I'm down at this level and I'm hearing about AI and I'm worried about my job and I have fear. And so there's a lot of potential for sabotage or lack of sharing information at that point. So you really have to be more collaborative when you do it. And it's going back to what I was saying earlier, is you crawl, walk, run. You start in 2025, you need to have some pilots at least running that are utilizing, whether it's automation or AI, just to test the curve and see what you're doing. And then by the end of the year, you should be able to run at least one or two work streams utilizing this technology. And it could be simple stuff. I mean, we've done one thing where you get a bunch of compliance emails and you don't know which one to act on. They're just a bunch of laws and policies that you have to deal with. So the AI engine is reading them and thinking about the business and only alerting people when it's like, okay, this one is relevant to our business. This one, someone in HR needs to pay attention, or someone in the CFO office needs to pay attention to this one. Or we're talking about the onboarding piece, or just simple things that can, couple weeks and you're up and running, or within 30 days you're up and running.
How big of a difference do you think that makes to these mid-market companies? Is it nice to have, or is it something that's genuinely worth it? I know you might be a bit it's a bit subjective, but still.
No, this is a really good point. So it's not about today. It's not about do I have AI in my business today? It's about building that muscle. And so you have to start developing the muscle, and you have to start getting everyone in the company. It's not just the IT team that should know how to do AI. Your finance team needs to know it. Your HR team needs to start embracing it. You can't have a bottleneck saying everything needs to go through our AI innovation lab or hub or whatever it is.
Oh, wow. And I'm seeing a lot of that. Now that you mention, I'm seeing a lot of that silo where everything now has to go into this funnel, and it sort of is a bottleneck. And I'm seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, so you're purposely slowing yourself, but once you build that muscle where everyone is comfortable using the tools, then it's going to really be this disruptor that's going to differentiate the companies that know how to utilize, whether you call it AI or automation, and the companies that don't. Because right now everyone can keep up, but there's all of a sudden there's going to be this accelerant that's going to kick in, and it's really going to make a big difference at that point.
That's an interesting point. What do you think the accelerator is going to be at? If you don't know, you can take a stab at it.
Yeah, so for example, in finance, you can have certain tools for scenario planning, and you can have certain tools that help you with forecasting. So now the companies that know how to forecast and look back at their actuals, they actually can pivot and make decisions much faster than a company that doesn't have these tools and AI and pattern recognition. So it just means that the decision making becomes much faster and much more informed. Obviously, you want to use your gut to guide a business, but now you have much better predictive analytics because you've trained the model, you've been using it, and everyone's comfortable with working with it.
Just blew my mind, because now a mid-market company can actually move with the agility of a startup, if you think about it.
Well, it could. So it's interesting. It's like Goldilocks, right? It's in the middle. It can have the agility of a startup, but it can operate with the capabilities of an enterprise.
Whoa. All right. Okay, that's awesome. Ali, last question before I let you leave. It's actually a two-parter. As you talked about people being fearful of losing their jobs to AI. I think that's not an entirely unfair statement, given what has happened in sort of the market. And you talked about collaboration. How do you get buy-in from people when there is this fear of them losing their job? Does the CEO have to stand on a soapbox and say, "Hey, people, this is what's going on. This is what we're doing," and to sort of calm any nerves, or what needs to happen?
Yeah, it can't be overnight. It has to be something that's continuously being shared. Anything that's in change management, you have to repeat it 7-9 times before it really permeates through the organization. And so the collaboration comes when you form. There's always these tiger teams that come together to do an AI project. So you have to pull in people from different disciplines and different levels within the organization, so they have a voice and they have that space to be able to raise concerns or fears about their job. Okay. But it's really about human in the loop, having that emphasis and really allowing people to say, how is this going to make my job easier, faster, more productive, versus we're not looking to replace people. I think some people get a little extreme with that statement.
Yeah. And then the last one was, this is virgin territory, very new in terms of handling a company's data. And I've heard some stories about people, employees specifically, uploading what the company deems sensitive documents into GPT. Like this is part of their normal day-to-day work, and they're obviously doing it on their own without the company knowing it. Like how safe is your company data when using AI? And also, like, how do you get employees not to do that, I guess, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, this is a symptom of a company that says nobody can use AI. We're only going to use this sanctioned version, and you have to wait in your line. Or we're not allowed to use any AI. And people will people want to upskill, and they will figure out a way to do it. So you have to have, yeah. So you have to create the guardrails. You have to create the environment that says, okay, for those of you that are going to experiment, we've identified this sandbox. It's a private container. You can work in here. You can play in here. And this is the sort of data that we deem confidential or proprietary. And please don't put that up there. Or you get Teams, which claims that ChatGPT Teams, or I don't know about Gemini, but they claim that they won't train their models on that data. So you have to. You can't just say you can't do it. It was like when the iPhones and the Apples came out, right? In enterprise, they said nobody can bring a Mac to the office, or no one can bring an iPhone to the office. Well, they figured out how to do it.
But it's also like Zuckerberg saying he's not reading or listening to my WhatsApp calls and messages, but then 2 minutes later I get an ad for something I was talking about.
Yeah. Okay. That's happened too many times.
Yeah, let's just leave it there. Ali, thank you so much for joining me today. If the listeners want to go and get in touch with you, find out more about Premier NX, or companies that want to get you into co-sourcing, where can they find you?
Yeah, our company website, premiernx.com, and I'm Ali Din on LinkedIn, or it's LinkedIn/in/the Din Man.
Yeah, we'll put all the links in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today.
All right, okay. Thanks again.
And to our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.
But the thought makes me smile. I'm so tired of wanting more than this. I know it, but what am I to do? I need some space to breathe, so give me some room. Oh my love, you have a heart of stone. 'Cause since I've come home, I've never felt so alone. But the thought makes me smile. Oh my love, you have a heart of stone. 'Cause since I've come home, I've never felt so alone. But the thought makes me smile. Oh my love, you're coming with me. I know you'll leave me one day. Can you just stay till Monday? The thought makes me smile. I'm so tired of wanting more than this. I know you'll leave me one day. Can you just stay till Monday? The thought makes me smile. I'm so tired of wanting more than this. I know you'll leave me one day. Can you just stay till Monday? The thought makes me smile. So good. Smile. 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 Oh my love, you have a heart of stone. 'Cause since I've come home, I've never felt so alone. But the thought makes me smile. Oh my love, you're coming with me. I know you'll leave me one day. Can you just stay till Monday? But the thought makes me smile. Oh, that's so good. Smile.